And good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us for our first solutions forum of the fall, also known as Putting AI to Work. We've got an extraordinary group of folks who have signed up for this today. We're going to start this morning off with Agent IQ. Slaven, I'd like to hand things over to you at this point and allow you to introduce both yourself and Autumn and tell us about the great work you're doing at Agent IQ. Take it away.
Uh, Thank you, Wayne. It's great to be part of this webinar. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce Agent IQ and our work with Mercantile Bank. So I'm a CEO and co-founder of Agent IQ, and before Agent IQ, I spent 12 years at Google, where we really put in some of the underlying frameworks that are used in large language models and kind of deep learning AI that you hear a lot about. But when we started Agent IQ, we really appreciated the need of having a more human touch when dealing with banks. And we have built a platform that allows banks to provide personal relationship-based service while using AI to really make it more efficient and more scalable. So we think of AI as not replacing the human in this equation, but really making it more efficient and scalable, allowing to amplify on the good things that human people on the platform can do, and really leave the mundane, repetitive task to the AI, and by that get the best combination of both worlds. I have Autumn here from Mercantile Bank that we have been working for about 2.5 years now, and we've had great results working with them. And I'll just pass to Autumn and maybe let her introduce herself and kind of what we've done, and then I can provide a few more words.
Yeah, thank you. I'm with Mercantile Bank. I'm the retail operations manager. So I oversee a number of departments, but one of them is what we call our digital branch and chat. So we introduced that to our customers about 2 years ago. We started with our retail customers and have since expanded to basic business. But our focus was really to find a way to engage with customers in the digital channel that was still had that human touch. So the customer can always get to a banker if they want. They can always click chat with a banker anywhere within the experience. So we find that beneficial, and it's always a work in progress, but we are encouraging customers more and more to use self-service options whenever possible, because then they don't have to wait for us. If we can cater or set the self-service up so that they can help themselves, then they don't have to wait, and they can take care of it in the middle of the night when we're not here, because we're not going to be 24 hours a day. So partnering with Agent IQ has been wonderful. They are always up for whatever we want to throw at them, or questions that we have of how we can improve that AI experience for our customers.
Great. And I believe, again, you guys followed kind of one of our main principles of starting small and gradually expanding, iterating quickly to kind of get the best results without absorbing too much risks, because obviously if you move too fast, things cannot be as controlled as you can do it smaller. So maybe you can say a little bit about how you guys started with the unauthenticated chat and then moving towards the authentic experience.
Yeah, so when we rolled this out to our retail customers, we did it without promoting it at all. We have it on our website for what we call anonymous, within online banking, the authenticated, and it's amazing. Customers found it without us promoting it at all. We found our calls in the call center went down because customers were either self-servicing or they were coming in through chat for that assistance. So our workflow moved maybe from call center to this new area. But then we decided we wanted to help more customers. So we turned it on for our smaller businesses. And amazingly, they found it. And what we found is often they were already coming in through the authentic or through the anonymous on our website because they were looking for that help. Customers kind of just expect that you have this available to help them. And they're easily finding it. I think next year, one of our marketing roadmap ideas is we want to start to promote this more with our customers to encourage them to use these channels.
Sure. And in particular, can you share some of the results that you guys have seen with self-service in anonymous and maybe with business customers versus retail customers, if you have any examples, and I do have some
Yeah.
here too, but
Yeah, it's interesting. I just pulled up some business numbers this morning. So this year we've had with our business customers, which we turned on the basic business in December last year, and we've had over 8,000 conversations for business. With over 1,300 of those customers are returning. So they're going back to that channel for more help when they do need it. Then for our personal customers, a number of those conversations, it looks like we've seen about 46% of those conversations are about loan needs, asking for loan help. So that's something that we have identified to build out more to help those customers with those loan questions. We're probably going to be exploring or adding in. We have an online application that we're going to be launching for our consumer customers and adding in chat as part of that, just to be able to help those customers that are doing the application online.
That's great. So 46% conversations about loans. That's very interesting. And how did you find that number? I mean, did you have to do some work to get that, or was that part of the experience?
Yeah, it's within some of the metrics that you have available within the platform. And I will tell you, in the beginning, our bankers were a little nervous about talking to a customer through chat about loans, but they have figured it out and helping customers apply and close loans right through chat.
And that makes sense. I think we have seen that with some other institutions that we see. Once the channel becomes available, they will use it because people in general are trying to shy away or move away from phone calls and do more like text-based interaction. So that's very much in line with what we've seen in other institutions. What I did want to highlight in our platform, we do use AI in several different ways, right? One is the self-service that Autumn has mentioned, where customers, be it retail customers or business customers, authenticated or not authenticated, can try to self-service. Every time we do show a self-service menu, we do allow them to quickly reach a human operator or banker. And what we see that typically the customers know what kind of easier questions that AI self-service can answer, and in some other cases, they will quickly choose to talk to a person. Even with this setup, we are getting very high numbers. So Autumn mentioned 46% of conversations being serviced through self-service. The other part of the system is focused on helping the bankers, providing suggestions, relevant information to the bankers in context. And this makes them, faster, smarter, better in helping the customers. And then the third part is, again, what Autumn has mentioned here, is the module which allows the business owners, kind of the operations people, to see what are all these conversations about, what are the customers talking about, what their pain points are, and how they change over time. And one of the interesting metrics that 45% of the conversations were talking about new loans, new products, and ultimately show how this channel can be used to drive new business, and also how AI can be used to provide new insights to the bank, which can be very actionable and real time. So it's very interesting. I am wondering, so what are kind of some things that you guys are planning to do going forward, Autumn?
Well, just today we had a launch meeting to talk about expanding to more business customers, more of those complex commercial customers, along with adding it within our online account opening platform, consumer online account opening platform, or the loans. So kind of looking at that roadmap for 2025 and expanding it out, making it available to more. Sure.
That makes sense. And then one question that, often hear is, AI, obviously you have to do some work to kind of initially deploy it, but what kind of work have you guys done to, make sure that the AI is behaving the way you like it and it's improving over time? If you can share something.
That is something that you have to plan for and look at probably a couple times a year to make sure that it's still working. Maybe you've made changes. In fact, we had a change to our online banking flow, and I had to go in and update those self-service AI flows. But you want to look at, is anything changing too? Like if you have an uptick in fraud or it's tax season, it might be time to change those workflows so that you're answering the questions that your customers are most interested in.
It makes sense. And just to highlight again, so the way the Agent IQ kind of deploys AI is somewhat different from maybe what you heard from other providers, because we do not require a lot of training data that you need to annotate and kind of run training on for a long time. We provide an easy to use interactive interface kind of UI where some of the existing procedures and answers to standard questions can be kind of encoded in the system in a way that system understands and then easily deployed. So that allows institutions like Mercantile to deploy changes as quickly as a day or two when needed, and ultimately allows them to provide the best coverage possible, again, while keeping the accuracy and kind of customer satisfaction very high. I'm wondering if there's any questions.
Let me jump in a little bit, if I may, Slav, and Adam. Thank you so much. This is great. You guys have mentioned a lot of things that I think are very important. You know, when typically we are talking to the community around AI and the expectation from it, probably the leading answer that we get is efficiencies, gains in efficiency. But the other thing that's been very evident that I also think comes along with that, and it's very clear, and Adam, I'd love you to maybe unpack this a little bit further, is the improvement of the customer's experience. You know, you got 46% of the people coming to the chat as it relates to loans. Probably, and frankly, I would think some of that is because maybe people don't really want to talk to a banker yet about a loan, right? So is that enhancing their experience in a fashion that enables them to capture the information they need to be more prepared to then have that conversation, perhaps with a loan officer or a representative of the bank? I'm curious about that. The other thing I'm curious about is, you know, today you're challenged with marketing and representing the bank to a variety of demographics. Silent, baby boomer, X, G, Y, Q, F, all these different generations, right? And some of them have never been and will never be in the branch, but yet want a channel to communicate effectively. Did that help drive part of your decision as far as this was concerned? So I sort of two questions there. The first one is customer experience. The second one is, are those customers better served for those various demographics?
Yeah, definitely. Customer experience is important. And, you know, one example I can share is a customer wanted to apply for a loan or ask some questions, but they were, after the conversation happened, they shared that they were very, they had a hard time going in and speaking with someone face to face. So the fact that they could do it through chat enabled them to be able to have that conversation and apply for that loan, whereas before they might not have done it at all. So the customer experience is really there and just meeting them where they want to be. I think there's a large demographic who are not comfortable talking to somebody face to face or walking in a bank because it's scary if you don't ever go in there. So remind me the second question, because I was really focused.
Just talking, thank you for that. Just talking about, you know, again, curious about if you can track or you're able to see the behavior. For example, you know, the baby boomer might want to come into the branch because they're accustomed to that. Where a Gen Z is, you know, on their phone at 11 o'clock at night watching, you know, a football game and wants to think, well, maybe I just saw a car ad. Maybe I want to get a new car. Maybe I should talk to the bank about a loan. And can I do that through chat, right? So your challenge to service these variable different demographics today, I think, is one of the great challenges our banks face, because you really can't speak to all of them in the same way. But also from a customer experience perspective, I think they have different expectations, right?
Yeah, it is interesting. I will tell you, looking at a lot of the chats that come through, the demographics are all over. So it could be, you know, a high school graduate. It could be your grandma or grandpa, and they're going into chat. And I mean, they're on Facebook, so they're figuring it out. And if they can type, which they can, they just go in and ask their question. And it's interesting to see. Sometimes it's technical. Sometimes it's just a question about their account.
Awesome.
That's interesting data point. So across our clients, and they're different from institution to institution, but average age of customer on the platform is between 43 and 49. So that tells you obviously there's some younger people, but there's also some older people. So it is not, or it's often the case that even the older people will learn how to use this and use it because it can be more efficient for them. Another interesting data point I wanted to bring. So one other feature that is very popular with Mercantile Bank is for after hours when bankers are not on the platform, there is a way to, again, through AI kind of automated workflow to request a follow-up. And we see about 16% of the customers do request that callback. And again, this gives them a much better experience because they don't have to engage again, on their own, but they can receive a callback. And this has been very effective with Mercantile as well as some other institutions that we have. Again, showing how AI through simple workflows, can improve overall experience.
Everybody expects the Amazon experience today, right? We want 24/7 and we want at our door tomorrow. Two other points I want to bring out. One is, I think you gave everybody here a great pro tip. And that pro tip was, the idea of a soft opening, right? I was in the restaurant business many, many years ago. And of course, when we opened a restaurant, the first week was kind of friends and family, and we opened it up. So testing our recipes. So the same principles apply here. You guys went ahead and decided to post this very quietly to see what would happen, how people would obviously begin to consume it and so forth. But, to those of us that are on, I think as a rule, when you're bringing new technology and you're innovating in this fashion, to be able to have those trial periods, those soft openings and so forth. I know as we are looking to deploy our banker boot camp program, which is something we're going to be doing later this fall and early next year, that's something we very much talk about as a component to be able to do that effectively. Just, I don't know if you want to add anything to that Autumn, but I really think that's an important thing for people to recognize.
Yeah, it gave our bankers time to kind of ease into the new flow too, because they didn't know what to expect. And I will tell you, when we turned on basic business, they were freaking out because it's the what if. We don't know what the customers are going to ask. Last year or earlier this year, I actually extended our chat hours too, because we started at 9 to 5 and we extended to our regular contact hours, which are 8 to 6. And immediately our customers found us. They found that we were there and we were able to help them. So I think easing in for quietly for your staff helps you too, make sure that they have the tools and the ability to handle what you need.
That's great. I think that's great. Lastly, the last question is, how did you two find each other, and what sort of time did it take to get this stood up? And I have other questions related to sort of what's the source of your data and the workflows, but more importantly, if others wanted to deploy this, help them understand kind of what you guys had to go through real quick. And Slaven, maybe that's for both of you to converse on.
Yeah, I think one of the strengths of our approach, again, we do not require integration into core and a bunch of other legwork to set the platform up. So we typically can go live in about 2 months from contract signing. And I believe in case of Merck, it was about 3 months, from contract signing to initial go live. And, I think we have met through, at one of the technology conferences where we were doing a demo, we met the innovation group from Mercantile Bank, and, they were intrigued with our product, our approach to AI, and that's how the conversation started.
Excellent.
I would just add that the 3 months, Mercantile probably extended that out because we wanted time to fully train our bankers on what we felt they needed, because they were internal employees that we promoted, but they didn't have all the knowledge that they needed. So they spent some time doing shadows in multiple departments and really becoming more of an expert to be able to help the customers with whatever it might be.
Last question, and we always want to know this, was it a hard sell inside for you in the bank to get folks to embrace this idea?
Not really.
No? Excellent.
No, it's about the customer experience, and our customers, we know it's just another way to connect with them. So we felt it was important to do.
Yeah, and our customer expectations are certainly different today. Slav and Autumn, anything last you'd like to say, or anything you'd like to say last, I should say, probably better, before we ask you to depart, and we thank you so much for your insights. Very important stuff.
A lot of people are curious about AI and there's a lot of hype about it, but there's definitely real value that can be reaped right now. And I think the most important thing is really to get started, right? And you can start small, as we have talked about, and there's no the risk can be controlled in a sense, and so you can only see the benefit and the upside. So I would encourage anybody out there that's curious is really to start the journey, and we'd definitely be happy to field those conversations. Or if they're interested in different type of AI deployments in different functions inside the bank, by all means get started, and you will benefit from it, I'm sure.
Terrific. Autumn, anything further?
No, nothing else.
Thank you for taking time in your day to share with this community the great work you guys are doing together and how you are making a difference with customer experience. And once again, how we can put AI to work, right? This is what it's all about. Thanks a bunch.